sing the sponsors tune to sing
The jingle.
Yeah, the jingle. Yeah, the sponsors want us to sing it.
In the Loop podcast.
In the Loop podcast.
1, 2, 3, 4.
We are here at the In the Loop podcast, sponsored by ProLytX. Is that right, Blake?
That's correct.
Okay, great. Mike Antosh, Blake Bernanke.
Yep.
Okay, and the thing is, we have done a handful of podcasts, maybe 4, 5, 6, something like that. Did one with Digital Wildcatters, did several ourselves. This is the continuation of that journey. Sound like a good plan?
Yeah.
Yeah. You wanna, okay, good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. Continuation
So
of
we're,
that journey.
we're jumping right back in. Hey, I want to tell you, you were out of the room, but I was telling Danielle, I've gotten great feedback from colleagues. Everybody's like, hey, when's the next one? You know, it's been like several years. They're like, when's the next one? I've been listening to them. We had guys.
Well, our overall plan on this one is to do a podcast every 7-8 months.
No.
I don't think
No.
Danielle would like that.
No.
Yeah.
Every
okay.
couple of weeks,
Every
every
couple-
once a month, something like that.
Once a month, couple weeks. Okay.
Okay.
Every couple weeks, I think is it. Once a month, actually. I don't know, Danielle. What is it?
We have free will.
Oh, okay. So
We live in Texas.
Ideally,
Free will.
maybe like once a month, maybe 2 weeks if it's in our schedule.
depends on how popular we are.
That's true.
There we go. So where I
Start
was
blowing up, we'll do more of them.
where I was going with that was the feedback's been good, I think. Now, it could be that the people that don't like it either or wouldn't like it just haven't listened or a lot of nice folks. Our colleagues are pretty nice, but everybody's been positive, I think. Have you been getting any feedback?
No.
Wait, we had Philip tell us, right? Well, no name last names, but he was like, "Hey, I'm listening to every one of those," right?
We have had a few people tell us that. Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah. But
So,
it's been a while. We
it's
haven't
important
done a
stuff.
podcast in a while. So anyway, why are we starting this one?
Well, we're jumping back into this concept of just tech discussion. I was describing or thinking about it earlier. We're going to talk about like why are we doing this? Why are we doing this series, right? And the way I'm thinking about it is, we work in the energy business, so we're talking oil and gas, renewables, nuclear, right? That's the space that we're in, and chemicals, all of that sort of stuff. If you're profiling that business, it's pretty clearly two groups, right? It's engineering teams that are designing new facilities or modifications, and it's owner operators who are running these plants. Would you say that's like the
Yeah,
that's
that's fair.
it's
That's
almost the whole industry is in those two buckets. But in between those, there's some software that's common that helps design it and helps run it. And there are people that make that work. And they kind of bridge between those two, between the engineers and the operators team. And we have a lot of experience in that realm. I don't think a lot of people who are traditional engineers, maybe had a whole 30-year engineering career, have heard a whole lot from that middle ground, and the folks running the plant haven't necessarily heard that perspective. So I do think that we can offer a little bit of an interesting perspective on the technology in that space, the similarities or the conflicts or whatever's happening between those two. Does that sound like a reasonable reason to you?
Yeah, I would go a little bit maybe deeper than that though, and say that the one of the reasons that we wanted to start this and kind of talk about it is to get into the actual technology and information side of our industry. It seems like you got the Googles of the world, and you got the Microsofts of the world, and then you got like the Accentures and all of these other companies and IT-like companies in other industries, pharmaceutical, medical, finance. Maybe they're using some of that advanced technology, but our industry in the energy industry and the chemical industry is using it, but not maybe as effectively as others are.
Okay, and we're talking about We're talking about systems that it may be a drawing, but behind it there's a database.
Yeah.
It's the cloud's involved. Like it feels just like a piece of paper that you might use to look at a pipe or a wire. But in the back end, there's some technology behind it. There are some people that run that technology. We have a lot of insight to offer on that, and there's some curiosity out there. I think is everyone's digital transformation's a huge buzzword,
digital
right?
transformation.
What does that
digital
even mean?
Twin. What is a digital twin? Right. I was asking AI the other day, hey, what's a digital twin in the industry? And it started describing a digital twin, and I was like, hey, what you're describing is a process digital twin, but isn't there an engineering digital twin? Isn't there a document digital twin, like information digital twin? Isn't there a maintenance digital twin? And it was like, oh yeah, there's those two. But it seems like even in our industry, when you say digital twin, most people just focus on that one. And so I guess what we're trying to do with this podcast is say, hey, no, there's actually a lot more valuable information in that entire space, in that entire technology space within our industry, right? And so let's talk about that.
Yeah, I think at some point too, we're going to have to, hopefully from some of these fans that we get or whatever, watchers, listeners, whatever, we probably need some ideas because we could pretty quickly run out of stuff if we're just
maybe we can have other people on.
Yeah, I know we 100% should. Yes, I agree. So one of the aspects of why it to me it might be interesting to have a series like this is because in the industry that I just described, there isn't a ton of sharing. I mean, the material is not the most exciting, like hot material, right? In some cases, but also like the persona of the people, generally like stereotypically, you'd say introverts, math, science folks. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, I don't know if it's just that they're introverts or not. I mean, I'm not young in the industry, but I'm not old in the industry either. So you're 20, 25 years right now, I guess, of experience in that realm. And what I kind of feel like as far as secrecy in the industry is a lot of people have certain ways, like a lot of companies or individuals have certain ways of doing it, and they don't want to share it because they think that that's like their secret sauce on some of this stuff. But at the end of the day, with the way technology is going, it's not really secret sauce. It's just technology and how you do things, right?
But to be fair, there are certain things in our industry that are definitely trade secrets. And you can't can't just go around sharing them, right? If you make a certain type of chemical or certain type of material that gives you
100%.
So it's like you have this culture of people who have been taught, I'm signing an NDA, I'm signing a confidentiality agreement, I have to. But the line between what fits into the confidential stuff versus what is just general knowledge about how tools work or how systems come together, it can be a blurry line, right? I think a lot of people err on the side of caution and just say, oh, well, I can't really share because I don't know where that line is, right?
Yeah. No, I would agree with that. Like you definitely can't share like a proprietary process or something of that nature from a chemical plant, but that doesn't really necessarily have anything to do with like how you use a utility or create a utility to generate a loop drawing, right? Like that's not really the same.
When you say utility, you mean a software package, right?
A software package or a technology or something of that nature.
So if you're an engineering company with 100-person project team, and that's a bunch of engineers and designers who show up every day, create drawings, and basically build the blueprint for a plant that's going to go to a construction site and it's going to be built, those folks have to use intelligent packages to do their work. They're not sketching it out by hand anymore, right? And they're not just drawing it generally in a drawing software, but they're putting it into a complex piece of software, multiple pieces of software. And so you're saying that the way that those get set up, the way that people administer them, the tricks of the trade, some of that can definitely be shared.
Yeah,
right?
That's not really a secret sauce.
There are some situations where people do some really cool stuff and they want to keep that in-house. But in general, there's more that could be shared than is being shared now,
Well,
right?
and some of that is already shared, and I'll give a plug to the local technical forums, right? So like in the smart plant community, there's an instrument local technical forum. There's a P&ID that you happen to be the chair of, and I'm the vice chair of the instrument right now, and that kind of is shared in some of those sessions, but generally there's limited avenues to sharing that kind of information and talking about that kind of information.
You have a few committees, like your ISAs and your PIPs, where colleagues get together and they help write standards and they share some developments, and then you have your user forums where people do that, and you have conferences where people will go and share, but a lot of that is still super high level. It's curated, right? There's not a lot of raw sharing.
This is going to be raw, like not curated sharing. I don't want.
Oh, in this
sharing.
podcast.
Oh, in this podcast, yeah,
definitely poorly planned,
low, raw. We're going to talk about how certain things, like maybe CFOS, isn't so relevant
you keep
anymore.
using these technical terms. We're just introducing this podcast. I feel like I have to keep explaining them.
Okay. Well, I feel like our listeners are smart.
That's true. Who even are going to listen? Like, but we need to consider
Smart people are going to listen to this.
Well, right, but we need to consider. I mean, Elon could need something to listen to. I mean, right? We don't want to scare him off with some acronyms he wouldn't understand. You know what I mean? So
I don't know. Isn't he like from Mars? I think he would understand.
you think he would? CFOS, huh? Little pop quiz for him.
Little pop quiz. What's
Pop
CFOS?
quiz for you. What is it?
Me?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Capital Facilities Information Handover Standard. We just lost some listeners with that.
Probably.
Okay, hold on. Back to it. All right, so we're doing this because we have a unique perspective on the energy business, right? And we're not the guys out in West Texas. We're not at a pump jack or something, and we're not at necessarily the ground floor of the engineering company. We're in the tech middle space of the
Correct.
digital twin and the cloud and all that sort of stuff. So we think that that's a good space that deserves to be shared. We think that space is a little bit under-shared at the moment, a little quiet. It's a quiet group. That's fair, right?
It's
That's what we're
quiet.
going for. Okay.
Yeah. And there's new technology that's coming up that I just want to talk about. AI.
Okay.
Like, it's becoming a buzzword, too. So digital twin's a buzzword. Now AI is like, oh, AI.
Right, because everybody
gonna-
wants the engineer in a box.
Yeah, everybody wants the engineer in a
where you
box.
can
It's going to
ask-
solve all your problems. You're going to press a button. Your plant's just going to appear.
Yeah. Okay.
None
Okay,
of that's
great.
gonna happen.
We have some notes here. I got to look and see what's next in our note package.
Danielle created these notes for us.
Oh, well, one of them is the power of sharing stories. So we're gonna try to do this like from a story perspective as much as possible, right? Because there's a term in our industry, death by PowerPoint. Familiar with that term?
Oh, yeah.
You show up to a sales presentation, the guy's got like 75 slides.
All words.
Yes, all words.
All words.
What's worse,
75
all
slides.
words or all pictures?
I don't know. All words can
Okay.
get kind
So
of terrible.
So it's supposed to be. It's
I
supposed
think
to be.
I've seen more all words than all pictures.
Yeah.
It depends. You go to a presentation with a sales guy, it's all pictures.
But when
You
it's,
go to a presentation with a
But-
technical guy, it's all words.
I'm not necessarily saying good pictures though. I'm talking about. So there's in a presentation you got the charts and graphs, which are generally fairly helpful, and then you got like the clip art. And I'm saying I don't want to walk into the all clip art one. First off, I don't want to see any 75 point slide PowerPoint. I'm already out. If that's your strategy, and then if it's all clip art or it's all words, I don't want it. But so this is primarily going to be around stories, situations, things like that, things that are working, things that are not. Is that right?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I like the power of sharing stories. I think that's a good idea. I'm a very I'm not a good storyteller, but I get my message across in stories, more than in parables, I guess you could say, more than just like, hey, this is the technical review, line item 1, line item 2. I like making making up stories, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think there's also just, I mean, I say this a lot with our project teams is like what
I
is the
love real life examples.
well, but also like what's the story of this project right now? Like is it in a positive place? Can we justify where we are and how we got here? You know what I mean? Rather than just them's the facts and everybody
Yeah.
stares at them. It's like, okay, because the same data you can portray it positively or you can portray it negatively, depending on how you got to the point you are.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
At some point in this deal, I'm still gonna do it, and I'm gonna point at Danielle again. She's sitting right there behind the camera. You can't really see her, but we have a motto. I don't. You know this because we've talked about it for years. Called "Win the Whiteboard."
Yeah.
So whenever we're in a room, it doesn't matter what it's about, sales, technical, doesn't matter. Our motto is to win the whiteboard, and you tell the story on the whiteboard, right? So at
Yeah.
some point, at some time in this podcast, we're going to have a whiteboard, and we're going to draw on it.
Yeah. It's a little bit of a production question though, right? We've really got to build an audience that's going to stick with us through our experimental whiteboard phase when that may or may not go well, handwriting wise, lighting wise, all that sort of stuff, right? So I hear what you're saying. We're working up to the you want to diagram some stuff out is what you're saying.
I like diagramming stuff out on a whiteboard. It's fun.
Okay. That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Like it's a race to get that real estate in a good meeting and try to capture the ability to tell that story, right? Draw that picture.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's the starting point that we were looking for as we get this series going again. Telling stories, sharing some technical insight, cutting through some of the buzzwords that might be a little bit of baloney. I did have a meeting last week, and you mentioned digital twin. I'm not gonna like go into a 30-minute discussion on that, but the person I was interfacing with said that at one point, in some of these cases, the digital twin was a solution looking for a problem, and I thought like that to dig into that and to talk about what does that really mean and how true is that statement. I think there's potential there to
You could have,
expand
like,
upon
a
that
whole-
conversation.
Whole
right?
conversation around that. Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah. Okay.
No, I think this is good.
Okay. Well, that's the episode for today, and
Yeah, how do we close these things out?
You're actively closing it out. You just
yeah,
keep
we're
going.
closing it out right now. I mean,
Okay.
Unless
well,
you
the
wanna
last thing here that Danielle wrote down for us is why it matters. So our closing is why it does this
let's do
matter.
that. You go first.
So wait, why do I have to go first?
Your idea.
Okay, I have to go first. Well, I think it matters for two reasons. For me, one of those reasons is actually talking about stuff and discussing it from my point of view. Win the whiteboard, like I was just saying, actually helps me understand things better. And so selfishly, it actually helps me grow in my knowledge of something when I discuss it and I talk it out. So
Well, and that also exposes the fact that some of these things we talk about, we're not going to know
yeah, of
the
course
full
not.
scope
No.
of the answer.
No.
In fact,
Uh,
and it goes back. I forgot to say it earlier when we say this culture, the persona that's in the why might this be a little quiet? Is a lot of times engineers do not want to take a risk and say something that might not be 100% correct, right?
Yeah, we're
like
gonna
we
take
live in
lots of risks.
we live in a community that wants to be a 100% right if you say something, and I don't think we have that luxury because. The podcast would be short if we only said things that we knew 100%.
So I think for me that's one of the things is from a personal perspective, selfish perspective. It helps me grow in my knowledge of what's going on in the industry and what's happening, and just the understanding. And then from the flip side of that, I guess, but it also kind of is still a personal perspective. Is I I like helping people. So I want people to know what I know for the most part, and I want to have them comment back. And I think if we have that dialogue and we open the dialogue up to people that listen to this and review the comments and get others in here and start talking about it, it helps the whole community out, and I like that.
That's fair. And we'd like to get other people involved, right?
Yeah.
Like in the past, we had like IT expert involved. We had a
Yeah.
PLC expert involved,
Yeah.
and let them share some of their stories.
Yeah, I like that. I think that helps everybody. It helps everybody's understanding, and then we can all kind of grow together.
Okay, sounds great.
So
You okay to close now?
yeah. Well, wait, you didn't go.
I contributed. Why is it? I like your answers, so it's important. Share, tell stories, help everybody. And maybe I'll tell you another one now that you forced me into it. You know, that space I was talking about between engineering and technology and between engineering and IT, which we didn't talk about as much, but when I made that transition, I had to leave engineering project work, and I had to become like a application administrator, data writer, code writer. And that's not an easy thing to do because, of course, you could try to go back, but I mean, you're switching a career path. You know what I mean? So I always did have a little bit of trouble figuring out who were good candidates, who were maybe engineering folks or people running out in operations who might be interested in this space. And kind of explaining to them what that world entails, and do they really want to learn about the data and the tech? Now, that may be an easier pitch nowadays because you know data is so hot. But it wasn't an easy pitch 10 or 15 years ago to go take an engineer and say, hey, why don't you come learn this database tool?
Well, what's funny about that is I think you're right, and I think that was difficult. And then I think one of the things that I see happening now is that you have companies that are saying, hey, it's just data. We'll just get a data engineer, and that's a problem.
You done opened up another 5 minutes.
I opened up a whole nother scenario, right? Because that could be a whole discussion in and of itself. But oh, well, it's just data. We'll just get a data engineer. And how many data engineers do you have on the team? And you're like, yeah, okay, but those data engineers don't know what data they're looking at. They've never experienced anything. They don't know what a pump is. They don't know what a transmitter is. They don't know what it means and what the value behind the information is. So you can't just go get a data engineer. And I think that's one of the reasons we want to have this podcast, right? Is because we want to talk about stuff like that. 'Cause that's important. You can't take somebody from, I guess, in what we've said in the past, somebody from the IT side would have to learn 80% of engineering to understand what we're trying to discuss, where you could take an engineer like yourself and teach them the 20% that they need to know of the IT side.
Well, I'll relate it to the audience a little bit because I think everybody can imagine like a 3D model of a plant, of a oil and gas facility, right? The person that makes that model work, not the one drawing in it, but the one who sets up the server and sets up the database and all of the templates and everything that goes that makes that thing functional behind the scenes. Most of those people in the industry at one point were actually the pipers or the structural engineer or someone like that. And over time, they realized they liked the technology, they were interested in it, and they kind of committed and they switched teams into the tech team, right?
Correct.
So they were on the core project team and they swapped over into the technology management team. What you see rarely is like a pure computer science person, pure IT person make that same realization and switch. Generally, those personas stick with the administration of business systems, financial systems, communication systems, right? So these engineering tools are primarily supported in the industry by former engineers and designers and project personnel.
Yeah, I would say that's right. But the problem, or not the problem again, but the trend of the industry that I'm seeing right now is that as the technology grows within our industry and these other actors that are in like the financial space or in those other spaces coming into this industry because it's technology now. Now they're like, oh,
and it's available work.
and it's available work. They're like, oh, well, we'll just give you 10 data engineers. And you're like, okay, yeah, with those 10 data engineers, what do they actually know about the information they're looking at? This is not 2 + 2 = 4. This is actual engineered, authored data that you have to make sense of and have value and get value out of.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So the general persona in this engineering tech space has been more successful when they come from within the industry and
Correct.
they go from
And they embrace the technology.
they embrace the technology, right?
Correct. Yeah.
And so I brought that up because the podcast itself could help with someone who might be on the fence and they want to be like, I'm trying to figure out my career and should I just really get good at how pumps work or really get good at how pipe is made, or maybe I'm really more of like a techie person. Could I still use my engineering background, but maybe invest in this as my career path?
I would
fair?
agree with that. And I think that part of what we're trying to do there is help people embrace the technology from our industry in the proper way and not just say, hey, we're just going to get a bunch of these data engineers. Data scientists was a great one. Hey, we're going to get some data scientists.
You seem to be really hung up on that.
am
At
pretty
some point,
hung
we
up
have
on
to
that.
talk about the difference between a data engineer and a data scientist and a data analyst.
Yeah, that's right, man.
But hold on, I want to say though. Okay, hold on. You were going to go. So you're hung up on that. What do you want to say on that?
Oh, nothing. I forgot.
Okay, sorry, dude. I know I screwed that whole thing up. But where I was going to go was there's another way to consider this, which is the people who are supposed to be adopting these smarter tools. Humans, do we really love change? No. Not that much, right? And so a lot of times we're working in a scenario where an organization has realized they think they need better tech, and they'll make a decision to invest in technology, but the people have to come along for that ride. Correct. And the people have to be like, yes, I will learn it, and yes, I will not complain all day long, and I will learn to do my job in this new way. And
that's because it's not just a technology change. It's a cultural change within those organizations too, right?
Yeah.
And so you got to have both of those to make it work and successful.
Well, yeah, and so us coming in and trying to set up somebody's technology network or trying to help them adopt a new tool can be a challenge, and I guess maybe we can humanize this technology a little bit through this forum.
That's the goal. I like that. Humanize the technology.
And that way, the next time we go out to implement something, and that person kind of calls us aside and says, "Hey, look, I'm not interested in learning this. I don't really think it's going to be successful." Maybe we can help win them over with some of this. The fact that you can hear a little bit more of this, right? And so it doesn't just feel like, because let's be honest, dude, some IT implementations don't go well. Is that fair? Like something's just plopped in your lap and you're like, oh, use this.
No.
Like, oh, wait, I don't know how to use this. I don't know who's going to help me through this. Right.
Yeah.
And so people like us are supposed to help you through that. And if you're doing this and you don't have a helper, then yeah, you're probably in trouble. So maybe we can help everyone understand how important it is to do that part of it too, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's what we're doing here.
All right. That's what we're doing in this podcast. Thanks for joining, and we'll have a ton more to come in the future. Thank you.
1, 2, 3, 4.
3, 2, 1.
How should I sit?